Hi everyone, it's Dee from Turtle Dove. Hope everyone is doing well. My DIY life is hosting a full recipe collab where anyone who wants to take part features their favourite fall recipe. We say autumn here in Australia, and it's actually spring here in the southern hemisphere, but it's quite a cold day today, so I still make this dish. And one of my favourite autumn dishes, and winter to be honest, is mushroom soup. So that's what I'll be doing in this video. So it's really easy to make. What I've done ahead is chopped a brown onion up, and I'm just cooking that down in about a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm about to transfer this over to a bowl here, which you can't see, but that's alright. I'm just going to take that and place that in the bowl, and then I can cook down the mushrooms. Now I think all up I'm using a little bit over 600 grams of mushrooms. Mushrooms cook down a lot. So even though it looks like a lot to start with, they will cook down a fair bit. So that's all sitting there ready to go back in the soup. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. There'll be plenty of juices from the mushrooms when they start cooking down, so I'll probably put maybe a tablespoon in again. Let that heat up a little bit. Just turn the heat up, and I have used the barbecue flat mushrooms and also cup mushrooms, which are a lot smaller. So there they are. It looks like a lot. I'm going to carefully place these in. Now the onions took about 3 or 4 minutes, and they're all going to be pureed down anyway. But you do want to make sure you cook them down. And you know what? I forgot to put the garlic in the onions. Just normally what I would do is just before I finish with the onions, I'll place the garlic in there. And this is 3 small cloves of garlic. But I will wait until the mushrooms have cooked down, and then I'm going to put it in there. It doesn't really matter, but that's what I normally do. And of course, every time I press record, I do the wrong thing. But it doesn't matter. I love mushrooms. They just smell scrumptious while they're cooking. And this is a good meal if you want to have a no meat day. Stir that around a little bit. The mushrooms will take up a lot of that oil, which is why you don't want to put a lot in there. But as soon as they start steaming a little bit, the juices will ooze out of the mushrooms and everything will cook down really nicely. If you didn't want to use oil, you could always just add maybe a third of a cup of water in there and sort of steam it down that way. But I think the oil does give it some flavour. I'm using olive oil. You can use any oil that you like. So they're already starting to cook down and smelling scrumptious, or scrumptious I should say. The little mushrooms have already cooked down a little bit. It doesn't really take too long. Put the heat up a little bit just to speed that up. So what I'll be doing is once this is cooked down, I'm going to save about a cupful of the mushrooms that have cooked, put them aside because I'm going to puree most of the mushrooms and the onions and everything else I put in there. But I want to have some pieces of mushroom in the soup. You don't have to do that, you can puree the whole lot if you want, but I like to keep some chunky bits through there. So I'm just going to save a little bit, and that just gives it a little bit more texture as well. So now it's starting to cook down really nicely, and that big bowl of mushrooms doesn't look that big anymore. I'll just grab a bowl. Oh, and I've got a mushroom here, and some people wash the mushrooms, but mushrooms are very porous and I don't want them taking in any more water. So what I do is I just peel it. So I'll take the tip of the stem off, and that's all I do, because I can't be bothered sitting there trying to scrape and scratch any bits of dirt off. So I do that with all of the mushrooms. Then I rinse my knife to make sure there's no dirt on there, and I'll just slice them all up. Easy as that. So now you're getting all the beautiful juices of the mushroom. That's what's going to give it a lot of flavour. And at this point, I can put in a little bit of pepper, just to your taste. Not too much. A little bit of salt, not too much again, because I'm going to be using some stock, which is salty. And a little bit of parsley. Turn the heat down now, and I'm going to add the garlic cloves that I've chopped up finely. You can use a garlic crusher, but I like to put the whole thing in lately so I don't waste anything. Now the reason normally why I do, as I mentioned before, I'll be cooking the onion down, and just when that's about ready, the last minute I'll put in the garlic. The reason I put in the garlic last is because it burns really, really quickly, so it doesn't need a lot of browning, which is why it's not really that important that I missed that step out here. It smells yummy. So let me know in the comment section what your favourite autumn or fall food is. I love a big variety of food, so it was actually quite hard for me to pick a recipe, but this is just a recipe that's easy to record as well. Just let that cook for another minute. I'm going to get another little bowl just so I can take some of those whole mushrooms out to save them. So like I said, most of it will be pureed, but maybe a cupful I'm going to save just for serving up. And now I can put the onions back in. And I'm going to turn the heat right up, because I'm adding about 1.3 litres of water, actually probably be about 1.1 or 2. there's a lot more people, this will be serving 2 or 3. You can add more mushrooms and more water and put it in a bigger pot, obviously. So that can heat right up, and at that stage I'm going to put some of this Vegeta Real Gourmet stock, which is gluten-free, vegetarian, vegan, real vegetables. And I think I mentioned this on another one of my favourites back in March, when everyone was panic buying. I couldn't get my normal stock, and this is all they had left, but I love it and I use it now all the time. I have a really big container actually. One's nearly finished, so I'm going to put in, this one's quite salty, so I'll put 2 teaspoons and let that cook down a little bit, and then I'll taste it and see if it's the right amount that tastes nice. I'm going to get another spoon to taste it. Don't want to double dip on camera. And that could do with maybe another half a teaspoon. Some stocks are saltier and tastier than others, so just, you know, your own stock that you use, your favourite stock, just go by that. I tend to like things on the saltier side, which is probably naughty. And I might add a little bit more parsley. You don't have to add parsley either. This is just a really simple recipe. You could get away with just using a bit of stock and the mushrooms and onions, and then a little bit of the cream at the end. So I'll leave the link to my DIY Life's channel in the description below, and she'll have a list, I think, of everyone that's taking part in the fall recipe collab. So you can go and check out all those recipes. So I'm going to move the camera over. Keep the flame going just for a moment. And I'm going to puree this. With, sorry about that, with this stab mixer we call it. So it's going to make a little bit of a noise. That'll do. Okay, I'm going to cook that down for another 5 minutes or so. Place the mushrooms back in. A little bit of a stir. And basically that's it. All you do is cook that down for another 5 minutes or so and turn the heat off, add a couple of tablespoons of some cream. Just stir that through and then serve it up. And I'm going to serve this up with some sourdough toasted bread with melted cheese on it. And also I might just slice a Granny Smith green apple up. And we'll have a few slices of the apple to go with that as our fruit as well. So I'm going to leave, I'll film a little bit so you can see it all dished up and ready to go. Okay guys, so don't forget, I'll leave my DIY Likes link to her channel in the description below for you, so you can go out and check all those full recipes. Okay? Thanks guys, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. So here's the finished dish guys, served with some sourdough, melted cheese, toast, and a little bit of apple on the side. And as you can see, you have some whole mushrooms in there, just to give it a bit more texture. And if you do have fresh parsley, you can serve that up with that. I've just sprinkled a little bit of dry parsley on there. So that's my recipe guys. Enjoy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.